Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and I have a layout to share today for Scrap the Boys. And it's a new month, so new challenge, and for November our challenge is Flower Love, so you get some flowers on your layouts. And this is something that used to make me really nervous, and I used to shy away from all flowers on my layouts because I only ever scrap for my little boys album. And I never associate flowers with boys or butterflies or anything like that. So I never used to use them. And it meant that every time I bought a collection that had anything floral or pink in it, everything got pulled out and put in a drawer and I never used it. And it was making collections really limiting, or I was avoiding them altogether. So I decided beginning of last year to just embrace the flowers and go with it, and try and be a bit brave in using them. And actually it's been really liberating, and now I really enjoy using flowers on my boy layouts. I don't try and make them too sort of girly and flowery if I can help it, but I'm definitely a lot more comfortable using them than I was a couple of years ago. So yeah, embrace the flowers, don't lock them in a drawer and not use them, get them on your layouts this month, that's our challenge. And it helps me feel a little bit more comfortable using flowers today because I've got a photo of my little boy holding some flowers. So these sunflowers, they're dwarf sunflowers, and he grew them from scratch himself. So he planted the seeds and he watered them every day and grew them himself, and he was so pleased to see them flower. So once we had enough of them that had flowered, we cut them down and put them in a vase, and we brought them into the house because we did have them out the front of our house initially, because that's the only way we get sun. Our back garden doesn't really get much sun, and we couldn't really enjoy them out the front. So once they'd grown, we chopped them down and brought them in and put them in a vase, and he absolutely loved looking at them, bless him. So here he is with some of his sunflowers, looking all proud and happy with himself. So the collection I'm using today is by P13. It's called Time to Relax. I think it's fairly new. It's only just landed in stores in the UK, and it actually only landed on my doormat today. So it arrived, and about 2.5 hours later it was on a page already. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the colours in this collection. I didn't buy the whole thing. I mainly bought it to create this layout. So I only got some of the patterned papers, and I didn't buy any of the embellishments or anything. And I'm already regretting that. I wish I had now. But there's plenty of what I've got to get a couple of layouts out of it. So it's not going to be the only time I use it. But I've bought the patterned papers that had these kind of colours on the back. So they're not quite solid colours, but they have a pattern on them. They've got a lot of font and script writing on them. You can see it a little bit on the pink rectangle there, but they've all got a little bit of detailing on them. And I bought these particular papers to use these B-sides because I wanted the colours. So I've just cut some random shapes from it really, or squares and rectangles of various sizes. I've not measured them out or anything like that. I've just put them through my paper trimmer and cut. And now I'm trying to kind of make a mosaic with them, building them together in a cluster in the centre of the page, trying to spread the colours evenly so there's not kind of two of the same colour next to each other. And then I'm going to have my photo sitting in the centre of that with some flowers and embellishments around it. But I'm raising some of these bits of paper up on foam to bring in a lot of dimension. So the ones that are sitting directly on the back, on that cardstock at the back of, or the background, those ones I'm raising up on foam, and that will lift all the other ones up as well. So I've got my photo in the centre. I've decided I want to have a couple of papers or frames around it just for a bit more detail. So I'm just cutting apart one of the cut apart sheets here and just having a play with those. I'm just going to have a couple of those staggered behind my photo. I'm going to pop it onto some white cardstock first just to help give it a bit of separation from the background, because it's going to be looking a little bit busy with all these colours and shapes, and then the flowers when I bring those in. So I've popped some white behind it. It also ties in with my little boy's top. He's wearing a white top in the photo, so that white doesn't look quite so out of place. but it just helps make that photo pop a little bit. And now I'm going to take some time fussy cutting some flowers. So P13 collections always have, or I think nearly almost have, a 12 by 12 sheet full of florals, and they're great for fussy cutting. So these are what I'm going to use for my flowers on my background. So I'm just going to take some time to get these fussy cut. There's also a patterned paper in the collection with sort of leaf sprigs on it in the same colours of the papers I've used. So I'm going to take some time and cut some of those out as well. I'm going to skip through all of that because it took me quite a while and it's a bit boring to watch. So by the power of editing, those are all cut out now, and I've decided I want to add another layout behind my photo. So I'm using some of that pink or cerise paper that I've used for my squares on the background, and I'm going to distress the edge of that. Not sure if I mentioned before, those sort of squares and rectangles I've put on my background, I've distressed all the edges of those as well to bring in a bit of texture to the page. I do love a bit of texture. And distressed edges always make me think of boys and boyish things because it kind of gives it a messy look. I know it's like a controlled messy look, but it's a nice messy look, and I always associate mess with little boys. So I do a lot of distressing of edges and things on my layouts for my little boy. So I've got those layers and those cutter parts behind my photo now all stuck down, and I'm going to add some foam behind that and pop that in the centre of my page there. And just sticking the foam behind the photo, I find it helps to draw your eye to the photo, makes it the focal point of your layout, and so I always put foam behind my photos. And now I'm going to slot these flowers in and get those stuck down with some foam as well. Just using craft foam, it's adhesive on one side, so it's really easy to use. And then I've got these little leaf sprigs in various colours. I'm just going to tuck those in as well. So I think that's all I'm going to use from this P13 collection. I'm actually going to bring in a few other bits now from other collections. So my title, I've got Say Cheese. That is from Vicky Boutin's Colour Kaleidoscope collection. I love that sheet of kind of puffy words and hearts and things. One of my favourite. I think I bought 2 of those when that collection came out. And I've also got a paper from it's another of Vicky's collections. Might be Let's Wander or Wildflower and Honey, I can't remember. But I bought it for the leaf sprigs, and it's actually got these really cute little birds on it, and I've never used any of the birds, but the colours on them match perfectly with this P13 collection. So I was flicking through looking for some butterflies and came across this, and I thought they would be perfect. So I'm going to cut a couple of these out. And what I love about this and that paper is all the birds are facing different directions, so I can have both of the birds on the layout facing in towards my little boy, which I like. So just going to get one of those stuck either side of my layout. And then I've got a few butterflies. This is a paper by Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I've got a couple of these. There's a few of their collections have had butterfly papers, but they make great embellishments. So I'm going to cut a pink and a purple one out because they match those squares and rectangles on my background. I'm going to have one up the top there and one down the bottom by my title. So whenever I put butterflies on my layout, I only ever stick the centre part, so the body, and I use glossy accents to make sure they hold, but I never stick the wings down. I like to leave those kind of flapping, and I find it makes them look really realistic, like real butterflies have just landed on my page. They obviously get flattened out as they go into my album, but once the layout is out again, you can sort of bend them back up. And I just love the dimension they bring to a page, so I only ever stick the centre of those down. Now I'm just pulling in a few more bits. These are from Paige Evans', I think it was Bloom Street collection. In fact, no, it's not. I think it was actually Truly Grateful. It's a bit earlier. I've pulled out a little banner there that says the good stuff, and I had a few of the little circle kind of puffy stickers left over, and I've just scattered those around. I've got, I think, some pink and some purple ones I've used. Now I'm going to add some white splatters. This is white gesso I'm using here. I've just watered it down a bit, and I'm going to add that to my page. I love white splatters on a layout. Again, it just makes me think of little boys with sort of messy splatters. So I love how this is looking, and I've just got one final step now. I want to add some sequins. So I've got this Flowers Falling mix from Spiegelmum Scraps, and the colours again are perfect for this layout. I'm also going to pull out the Late Summer Thoughts mix as well, because I wanted some of that gorgeous sort of mustard yellow colour, which I knew was in this mix. And I'm just going to spread some little clusters of sequins around my page, and then that will be me finished. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and it's inspired you to get some flowers on your boy layouts. Obviously you can visit the Scrapbook Boys blog and you'll see all the other layouts that the design team have made for this challenge. And if you'd like to take part yourself, make sure you upload your layout to the correct thread in the Scrapbook Boys Facebook page. And we'll all see those there. Rachel will pop them all, she'll pop the thread up, and then you can just add your layouts to those so they will get seen by us. But thanks again. I'll leave you with the rest of the sequins, and then there'll be some close-ups at the end.